So today I'm joined by Jorge. Jorge is actually here with me in the office.
Yeah.
As always, let's start with introductions, Jorge. So how did you get involved with Umbraco?
Well, I think I started working with Umbraco in 2008. My first Umbraco project was this, I think it was Umbraco 4.
Okay,
and,
so quite a while ago then.
Yeah, and well, I've been working with different CMSs within that .NET world, but I mean, definitely Umbraco is a...
So do you keep coming back to Umbraco time and time again?
Yes.
So
yeah, and I've seen some sort of evolution of some sort of Umbraco when from Umbraco 3, 4, and
exactly.
now Umbraco 7 is like really good, and I think it is great to see how the CMS has evolved at the current state we have. So that's really good.
So you've talked about when you got involved and how long you've been using it for, but I suppose maybe some people don't know who you are in the community. So if you kind of who do you work for, or is there any kind of contributions you've done back to the core or packages?
Sure.
Maybe people may know, or
yeah, sure. I mean, I actually my first open source project was actually with you that you had the CWS. Package, and I just helped it to move it to Razor. I think initially it was all XSLT based, and and it's really been good because you see also how Umbraco has been moving toward newer technologies and just embracing Razor and that sort of stuff. I also have a package for Twitter Bootstrap. It's open source as well.
Yes. Yep.
There's another one for Mini Profiler as well, but obviously this is some sort of deprecated now because Mini Profiler is built in.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of the core now.
Yeah. So, well, that's basically the way I've been involved with the community.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm currently working in partnership with Lequati.
Okay, so yeah,
excellent. So yeah, that's some sort of how I'm involved with the Umbraco and Umbraco community.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So today you're going to talk about continuous deployment and code quality in .NET but also in kind of the wider picture of how we could use that with Umbraco, yes?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm just going to jump in right away to, the tools and how we could actually just use, continuous integration, continuous delivery with Umbraco. So I'm just going to jump in and share my screen. And just feel free to just
I'll ask away.
Yeah. Okay, so imagine that you guys can see my screen.
Yep.
Right. Let's just. I haven't got a presentation today, but I just have some sort of going to talk through the tools that I'm going to be showing just some sort of the workflow that we're going to be using.
Yep.
So first of all, we are going to be, I'm going to be demoing TeamCity and Octopus Deploy, and also some tools that we use for just to help us. So like just as NuGet, ReSharper, Cover just for code coverage, and Unit for unit testing, and FXCop for code analysis.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So I'm going to just show you a quick image of what we intend to get from TeamCity. Well, basically, in general terms, we have the continuous integration servers. There are many out there. There's also Jenkins. There's Bamboo as well.
Yep.
I've been working with TeamCity for a while, and the only reason why I picked TeamCity is because it looks like very popular in the .NET environment, and it's very well integrated with the different tools.
Yeah, so just for maybe not everyone knows what a build server or continuous integration is, maybe could you briefly explain kind of what the role of maybe TeamCity is in kind of your environment or the setup? What does it do?
Sure.
Because not everyone knows what a continuous integration is.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, it's just one server which is going to be automatically just retrieving the code, trying to build it for you, and trying to run all the tests, just as we have here on the screen. And it's going to try to deploy it or do something else. So the difference is that it's all automated. So so basically, we don't have to rely on one person to build or do a manual test and that sort of stuff.
That's cool. So I'm a developer. I'm working in a team. I commit to a Git repository, a Mercurial repository. The TeamCity or the continuous integration tool picks up the commit, builds the code, checks that it passes all the tests, and then either deploys it to any servers that it needs to. Okay.
Exactly. And just to give you some sort of an idea how TeamCity looks like, I just have TeamCity open here, and basically you can just have your projects, and you have a number of steps that you can do. So, for example, if I go just to this build, actually just going to go to the settings just to show you some sort of the steps that you can do. For example, for this particular project, I want to, for example, get the NuGet packages, then make the build server just to build things for us, just to run all the unit tests we have, and also do some code inspection for us. And all these steps, you could reorder them. You could just add more steps. There are a number of options from TeamCity itself. And also you can add plugins. So you can see, for example, this Octopus deploy is just some plugins for Octopus. So if you need to extend it, there are a bunch of options out there.
So you can tell TeamCity, do this, build this step, do this. Once this is okay, run some tests against NUnit or something like that. And then once they've passed, then do the deploy, I suppose, with Octopus deploy or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. So the second thing I want to show you is Octopus deploy. Many people ask, well, what's the point of having Octopus deploy if TeamCity can actually do deployments? Well, this is actually an interesting question, and I think it's just a different audience, and the way Octopus deploy is really clever. So you can see here on this image, we have some sort of a version control. So this build server, this is basically what we have from TeamCity. But Octopus Deploy has embraced NuGet packages, which is just one of a very good standard. So basically, we create packages, and on those packages, NuGet packages are deployed in different environments. So the thing is that we could just simply select different environments. For example, we have the test environment, staging, and production. And it's really good because the package is already done. So, for example, some people have the problem when they want to deploy to production, for example. They have to recompile again, or they have to just imagine that you have a content delivery server where you have many servers to basically push exactly the same. And Octopus Deploy will help us just to do that for us.
Okay.
So just to show you as well how Octopus Deploy looks like, I'm just going to log into the server. Right, so basically we have a dashboard of the projects that we currently have. It is also very good because you could see what's going on every environment and what's some sort of the version that is being deployed.
Okay.
And this is some sort of dashboard for the projects you could have, but also you could have an idea of what are the environments. So basically, Octopus has something called Tentacles. So basically, Tentacles is just hosted on the remote servers.
So this is where something I could deploy to or push the code to once it's built?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can see here that we have some sort of this. Well, there's a tentacle installed on these servers. This is actually the same server, but actually we have another server which is hosted in the cloud and in Azure. This particular one, and basically, well, if you want just to have as many tentacles as you want, because
so like here you're showing us, so you've got the dev environment, and then obviously the UAT, and then production. Production, you're deploying the same site to multiple servers, I presume because of load balancing or something to that effect, that you want to push the site to many servers at once?
Yes, you can push many servers at once. So I think that's one of the key benefits. But also, And this is very interesting because I'm just going to try to show you some sort of the things that you can do with Octopus Deploy, and you could have many some sort of steps as well. Just so, for example, when you want to deploy something, you want to, for example, stop the IIS, you want to, deploy the NuGet, deploy the Umbraco. You could do many steps, and you can write a lot of things just with PowerShell, or you could actually.
So are these kind of built-in steps that comes with Octopus Deploy, or is this something that you have to kind of write?
Yeah, well, with the newer version, well, you can see I'm using 2.4 at the moment. There are many some sort of options that you can get.
Okay.
So, for example, you can have like IS app start, and that's actually a PowerShell script that you can download. Just to show you, and this is only available on the newest Octopus Deploy versions. If I remember correctly, we have on library, I think. So we have some templates. So you can have, but you can just go to the community library, for example. There's a bunch of options that, for example, Git. You could just, for example,
so you could pull, push. Okay, so you could really kind of, once it's deployed to that server, it's going to run those kind of steps. So in your example, it was stopping the IIS side, stopping the app pool, deploying the files from the NuGet package, and then restarting the app pool and restarting the site.
Exactly. Yeah.
So would there be steps to do initial creations of these kind of app pools and websites if they didn't exist? So if you deployed it fresh to an environment and this website didn't exist yet, would these scripts be able to kind of they could spin up the site?
Yes, you could potentially do that. For example, let's say that
so like a bit of like a conditional kind of if it doesn't exist, then create the site and create the app pool. And
yeah, there are many things that are out of the box in Octopus Deploy. So for example, deploy my site. Let's just say that I'm going to create a package. So for example, it should be picked by IntelliSense, but it's not working at the moment. Right, so so you could just configure and just add, for example, I just want create and configure. So you have so many options. So for example, you could just set what's going to be the application pool, what's going to be the identity, the bindings, and that sort of stuff. So there are many things that are actually out of the box from
that's really kind of powerful.
Yeah. So I'm just going to skip this, and I just want to just jump into some sort of demo, how we can just sort of do the whole
maybe end-to-end kind of something simple.
Yeah, sure. Right. So at the moment, I'm just going to try to. I have my Visual Studio project, and well, I basically want to test some sort of our forms. So I'm just going to go and jump to my models. And I'm just going to remove this for a second. Okay, so there's been a change on my code.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to push that. You can see there's something's changed here. Git. Commit. Sorry. Right. I'm just going to push this to the develop branch. Right. So what should happen right now is that from the Team CD point of view is that it's continuously listening to the Git repository. So we might have to wait because it just takes about it just do a request every minute.
Yeah.
But the idea is that well, you can see here now is changed.
Pending,
yeah,
so it knows.
Now we know that something has changed. And I'm just going to wait because I want to show that there are some triggers that you could set from TeamCity just to automatically basically do a build.
Okay.
So this should be able, you should be able to see this from the configuration file. So there's one trigger that yeah, when something has changed. So for example, a master page or CS file, whatever it is, just build. Please run the build.
Okay.
And this obviously configurable. You could just do any way that you want to trigger it. Right. So let's just try refreshing this. Okay. Well, while we wait, I'm going to show you some of the other things that we could do with TeamCity. So one of the things is just, well, we have you can just jump into repository. You can use SVN, Mercurial, Git, and you can host it wherever you want. You can have the triggers, as I mentioned before. We can just have build steps as well. That's and you can reorder them the way you need. There's also some features, and this feature is actually quite cool because I want every time that I build just to change the version number of the assembly.
Okay, so you're an update in the DLL every time this TeamCity runs. Every time you do a commit, the version number or the build number is getting appended to the DLL. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's correct. And also you could see some sort of the versioning. So let me just see something here that seems to be
okay. So it's running.
Yeah. Now you can see it's just running. So based on our previous steps, this is going to try just to first just get any dependency. If you got a NuGet then it's going to try to build it. If the build it's okay, it's going to try just to run the tests, and we can actually jump in right now here and see what's going on. So you can see the changes. This is some sort of this give you the idea from what's going on in terms of the repository, and you can see what are the tests that we are running, and it just will give you an idea of the duration as well, and on the tests that pass or fail.
Okay.
You could always just jump into the log files if anything goes wrong, and you can just dig into the log files here. You could see the parameters. At the moment, I don't want to just get into this, but you could also see the dependencies between the projects, and also, for example, the NuGet packages that we have. So these
are the dependencies in your solution.
Exactly. So, for example, you can see here my solution that I have a dependency with AWS. So, well, basically, this is because this project has this package, and obviously this is on my packages
config.
Yeah, exactly. In my packages config, there's this dependency, and well, TeamCity some sort of figures out how to do it.
Go and fetch it, use it, and put it in.
Exactly. Okay. Sorry. So okay. So apart from that, we have the artifacts that well, that's basically what TeamCity is going to publish, and you can see here that is just a plain. We have configured this just with Octopus deploy as well, so which is just installing something called Octopack. Just to give you an idea how simple it is well, you from your website project, you basically just add
So is it just again another NuGet reference?
Yeah, it's just another NuGet reference, Octopack. And you should be able to find it somewhere. You can just download it, and you have to also change the new spec, which is just take from NuGet packages, just to know some sort of what's the version number and some sort of description.
Okay, so a little bit of metadata.
Exactly.
So is that the only configuration you need to do with Octopack?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So right. So we have created a the artifacts. This is just exactly just a NuGet package with all the dependencies that are going to be deployed. So it got all the libraries, it got the configuration files, the CSS files, and whatever you need to deploy this. But there's something very interesting that I want to show you is that we have set the test to also have some sort of a code coverage. So on TeamCity, well, there are many tools to do the code coverage. There's the ncover, .cover. We're just using .cover because it's out of the box. It's just there, but you can actually choose any one you want. Just to show you how it works is if you go to my configuration and I go to my build steps, I'm just going to jumping into the end unit. So I'm just simply telling just please run my tests. But also just use a coverage tool, just using the default one, but you could just pick another one if you want.
Okay.
And you basically tell what's the some sort of libraries you want to inspect.
Okay.
So basically, it's just going to run the test and just inspect it against what you currently have.
So why would you want to do this?
Oh,
if talking from someone who knows nothing about code coverage, why would you want to do this?
Well, it's good to have some metrics about well, how good you code and what's the things you're testing on your environment on your code.
Yep.
So it's just basically a tool to give you more visibility about what has been tested and what hasn't been tested, and it's just give you a good idea of what's going on in your current code. So for example, here you have a quick overview of what's going on. So we'll have some classes that's methods and statements that have been tested, but there's some bunch of things that I have haven't tested. So it's just good in terms of code quality.
Okay.
But actually, you could just go on this tab and just get more information. So this is actually very clever because, well, you can actually jump in and say, well, you have tested this whole part, but actually you forgot to test the pose. Yeah. Okay. So it just gives you also a very visual way of just telling you, remember to test this and that. And I just give the percentages of what being tested or not. So I guess that back to your question, I think it's just good practices.
Yeah, it's nice.
A covering tool just to find out. The last thing I want to show you is that the last step we have is actually FXCop. So FXCop is just a Microsoft tool. It's free, and it's just basically some sort of inspect your code once it's already been compiled.
Okay.
And it's just going to give you some ideas of how you can improve your code, what you should avoid. So for example, if you have a try catch and the catch is just empty, say, well, you have to try to handle your exception exactly. Yeah. So you can see here that the code inspection is just going to tell us some sort of ideas and some suggestions, things of if it could be a public or a constant, and that sort of ideas that it will actually just give you a good idea of what we can do to improve your code.
No, that's fantastic. So I can imagine from a front-end perspective, to kind of give a similarity, there's obviously tools like JavaScript linting tools that kind of give you similar information that maybe this semicolon is not needed, or you've named your variable this, maybe you should keep it this type of casing. It's, I suppose, that kind of thing, just for your .NET code. Okay, very nice.
Right. Okay, so going back to TeamCity, we can see here on the project that, well, it's been built, but also there's a trigger that once this is built, is properly built, please deploy to dev. And this is actually simple as well. And again, I have already installed the Octopus Deploy plugin.
Yep.
So if you see here, there's only just one simple step. It's just please create a release. just call the Octopus URL and use a REST call and to just build and deploy the website. So you can see here the last build was version 20, I think.
Yep. So I presume this has a trigger or something that's listening to the previous build, which was the other kind of, if you go back to the dashboard.
To the dashboard on
of projects in TeamCity.
Okay.
So is deploy to dev, this kind of second one, is this listening to the one above it, build? So if build was to fail, then deploy to dev wouldn't run?
Won't run, exactly, yes. I mean, there is, again, there's a trigger here. You can say, well, after we finish the build, if this is successful, then run, otherwise,
okay.
yeah. So it's just, again, another trigger. But now if we go back to the Octopus deploy dashboard, you will see that this has already actually been deployed.
Okay.
And well, just to give you a test, this should have been deployed to this site. Right, while we wait for this page to be reloaded, I just want to also quickly go through some sort of variables, because there's something is actually really clever from Octopus Deploy as well. You can have a number of variables. For example, and you can actually just tell some variable. So, for example, this Octopus Deploy is changing my connection string on the fly.
Okay, so it's transforming the dev. So when it's in the dev environment, change it to this database connection string. When I push it to production, change the connection string to this one.
Exactly, and this is actually very nice because also we don't have. I mean, I've seen many places where they actually push the connection strings to the repository, and it's not very safe.
No.
And so in this way, you can just have it here, and it's a safe way of having all the connection strings in one place. So you can say, I have some environments as well. So for example, where's the root folder I want to deploy, and what's the website name?
Yep.
Right. So so just for this demo, well, this is a very simple form where I'm just going to try to click on submit, and well, this submit name is now. Name and email is mandatory, but I'm just going to do a quick change on my code. So going back to this, I'm just going to uncomment this.
We're now going to set the required for the message.
Exactly, and I'm just going to add a couple of tests as well, just to improve the code coverage. So including project, fine, let's save all of this and just push that to Git. Right. Oh. Test. Okay. Right. So now we should go back again
through the whole process.
Exactly, through the whole process, which is going to try to build it, run the tests, and everything. Now, while we wait for this to be triggered, I'm just going to go back to Octopus Deploy because once again, Octopus Deploy is really helpful when we need to deploy things. So, for example, I'm just going to just jump into this version, and let's say that everything is fine, QA has been fine, and we are ready to deploy that. You should be able just to promote that and just select the environment you're going to deploy. So I'm just going to deploy this to production, and it's as simple as that.
Okay, so you use the tool to say from this environment, push this specific version to my production or my UAT environment.
Exactly. Yeah, as you can see, we don't need to recompile anything because the package is already there.
Yep.
The transformations are going to be already be done by Octopus Deploy. So in theory, it's just, the deployments are going to be just one click.
Excellent.
So that's helps a lot because many of us have spent a lot of time just doing deployment. The manual deployments could be just very time consuming and also boring because you're doing the same task over and over again.
Yeah, exactly.
So the idea is that if they can just have this all automated, it would be great.
So God forbid something was wrong in 1.20 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
In production, could you then roll back to the previous version quite quickly? So say there was an issue in this that was a critical bug. Could you then roll back production to the previous release? Is that possible with Octopus?
Right, that's an interesting question. We have some sort of a list of all the releases we've done. So in one way, the answer would be yes. I could just go to the previous version and just deploy this release. So, for example, just to show you
that. You could then push this back over the top.
Yeah, exactly. The only problem with this, and it's this particular Umbraco problem, is that, well, if you have changed something on the database, on a structure, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to do the rollback because on SQL Server or something like that.
Yeah.
So this is possible, but it might be just tricky if you have like the changes on the database.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. So okay, this has been deployed. Fine. You can see on the dashboard again. Now we are on the same version. This should be deployed to the live site. And we're going just to try to see that we should have on this site only 2 required fields. While we wait for this to be loaded, let's just check that TeamCity is running.
Okay, so it's running the build 1.2.1, and it's obviously running the tests that you've added. So once this is finished, this will then trigger the deploy to dev step, and then push that out to Octopus.
Exactly. Excellent. Yeah. And you can see here that, for example, on the last build, I only had 1 test, but now we have like 14 tests. And it's a very nice way of having a look and just what's going on your code.
Yeah.
TeamCity actually can be set up as if there's a build problem. You can just send me an email and tell me that something's wrong.
Okay.
You could set so if for example, code coverage is less than 50%.
Don't build
exactly. Yeah. So there's all these rules that you should be able to do. Right. So back to here. If I just refresh this page and try to click, there are only 2 fields.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can see these are 2 different environments.
Yep.
This one on my dev environment, and this one is running in Azure. Right. So let's just finish waiting for TeamCity. While if we wait for the deployment, let's just see that, well, this code coverage has improved. It's actually telling me, well,
okay, so it's given a percentage since the last commit or since the last build. It's improved this much.
Yeah, exactly. And well, you can actually now go here. There are many tests. Obviously, if you have hundreds of tests, you will have pagination for this, and again, you can just jump in on the code coverage. You will see this number have changed a little bit as well.
Yep.
And the code inspection, don't think has changed because I haven't changed anything on the code just to make it better. Yep. But well, that's some sort of the idea. I have just a quick overview of what's going on. So once TeamCity is finished deploying, actually, if I jump into the dashboard, I should see that it's already been deployed. So TeamCity is telling me, yeah, it's been deployed, fine, and this is the last version. I'm just going to try to refresh this.
Yep.
And obviously, this is a very simple demo. It's not,
course, of course.
But my point is that, well, if any developer changes something, we should be able just to deploy it automatically and don't go through all this process.
Yeah, no, that's really, really nice.
So let's just wait a little bit for this.
Because IS is restarting and the Apple,
exactly.
So it's got to warm up a little.
Yeah. Now let's try to do a submit, and now we have name, email, and message.
Excellent. So we got the change that you've just made.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to push that to life, so it should be as simple as just, yes, I'm happy with this. Just please promote it to any environment we have. So this kind of direction. And that should do the trick.
Yeah,
so,
that's a fantastic demo in terms of a quick 40 minutes of introduction to Team City and Octopus Deploy.
Yeah.
So is, I suppose, one, is Octopus Deploy a paid for product?
Yes, Octopus Deploy is a paid product, and you actually, if you get it, you have 45 days trial with all, and it's all free, but and then you can just go buy the best one.
Okay, so is it you do pay a one-off fee, or is it a per kind of number of projects that you're running? So if I run 10 projects, it's going to cost me this, or if I pay a one-set fee, I can create as many projects and then as many environments as I want.
Yeah, well, the best way is just to go to the
site
store. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But because I think they've recently changed the pricing.
Okay.
But well, basically, you can just buy the one
that's most appropriate.
Yeah. In terms of Team City, you can also get some sort of the free version with 3 build agents and 20 build steps. So yeah, you can just download it for free and just play around with it. And if you like it, if you find it useful, you can just go and buy
what you need.
Exactly. So in terms of the tools I've shown, this is a paid tool. Octopus is a paid tool.
So .cover?
.cover is also a paid tool. It's also for JetBrains, but it's included in Team City, so you don't really need to pay.
Okay,
for
so
that
if you pay for Team City, you get .cover as well.
Yeah, you get Team City, .cover to be run on the server. There's also a .cover version to run it on your own Visual
machine.
Studio,
Okay,
but for that you would have to pay.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, and init is obviously testing framework is free. You could use FX unit or whatever you wanted to use, or MS test if you want. FXCop is free.
Okay.
And well, ReSharper is paid.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that that's some sort of the idea that what I wanted to show today. And I mean, one of the reasons why I'm doing this, and I think it's actually the way forward, because I mean, we could spend a lot of time just doing the deployment, and deployments are very, very boring and very repetitive. So
yeah, I was gonna say, as developers, it's the one thing that we probably all hate the most: deploying code and making sure it's okay, and testing it and retesting it. If we got something to automate it for us and ensure that every time I deploy it, I can not have to worry. I know it's just going to work 100% of the time. That's fantastic. So.
Yeah. And well, in terms of one of the challenges you could have with Umbraco is that obviously deploying the code is not so difficult, but when you have to change something on the database itself,
so yeah, so
difficult.
For example, you make a doc type change. How would you deal with that currently?
Right. So there's another website I have. This basically, I'm just going to go to the English version. So basically, this website has got usync installed.
Okay.
So basically, when you change some document type, it will just be part of the usync. I think actually it should be some of the.
So it just serializes it down to disk. As an XML file, then usync will, when you deploy it to the different environments, just read those files on startup and then add the necessary properties or doc types or anything else that you've changed.
Exactly.
So that's how you're doing the kind of the doc type or the database kind of stuff with Umbraco.
Yeah, and I guess that this is a difficult bit because I know many people have used in the past, for example, USI Builder just to work around for the doc types, but you might have some. Using is actually really good for what it is, very simple, but you might have some conflicts as well.
Okay.
So
there's a few caveats.
Yeah. But well, on this particular example, was saying that if we inspect the packages and updates, you can see that there's my using data.
Yep.
So basically, it's just there. So when I publish something, it will just pick things from the using and will try to synchronize my dictionary, synchronize my document types. Well, that's some sort of it.
Fantastic. That's really, really good.
So yes, there's also something very interesting about Octopus Deploy that obviously I'm just deploying websites, but you could deploy, for example, just a Windows service.
Okay.
You could potentially just do runtime SQL scripts. If you want to do backups or just data migrations as well.
Okay, so if you really want to get into it, there's more power there for you to kind of do database backups, compare, and kind of do that as well as you go up through the environments. Okay, that's very nice. Should we see if we've got any questions? So if you turn the screen share off, let's see if we jump back to the Hangout. And if I can remember where it is, there it is. Let's see if we've got any questions. Okay, so Kevin Lawrence asks, absolutely love Octopus, would not live without it, and it's always improving with new features. No, I don't work for them. Okay, so that's just generally a nice plug. Maybe not a question. So Carl Sogner, is this being blogged anywhere? I've wanted to use Team integration for Umbraco, but missed the start of this Hangout. So have you made any notes for this at all, or blogged about it before?
Well, the idea is that I will be blogging about this. One of the things you will find is that in terms of TeamCity, if you try to look for the right documentation, it's all over the place. So many people use it in different ways. So I guess it's just finding the right workflow for you. I will be blogging the workflow that work for me, but yes,
everyone is different.
But yes, I will be doing the blog post regarding TeamCity and Octopus Deploy and Umbraco. In terms of Octopus Deploy, you could just jump into their website. There's a lot of video tutorials just to give you an idea how you can use it. And obviously, if you want to download Octopus Deploy, you should be able to just download it and play around with it as well.
Excellent. So yeah, I think that's it for today. We've come close up to an hour anyway. So thanks, Jorge.
Yeah, thank you guys, and thank you, GodWorks, for just inviting me. So,
no problem. And yeah, excellent. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye. Bye.